All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Enclosed Cosmology. Today we're talking about Tammuz and the day of the day. So we'll get into that pretty quickly. But of course, like always, we're gonna go and get into the main jabam. So yeah, welcome everybody. I'll go ahead and introduce everyone. So go ahead and say hi to our brother as always, Anthony. How you doing this evening? Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and this is such a wonderful day. I cannot wait to dig into this topic. I kind of said a little touch about it a couple weeks ago, but now we're actually going to get to dig into it, and I cannot wait. Much love to everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Many blessings to all.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm equally as stoked because we've been kind of building up to this, and it's kind of weird how it happened on the day that it is. It's the Father's really cool when he shows up like that for me and how it works out. So, anyways, awesome. Let's move on. We'll go ahead and say what's up to Frankie B. How you doing this evening, brother?
Shabbat shalom, everyone. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so I'll just say Shabbat shalom. It's
Nice.
going to be an interesting show.
Yeah, definitely. That is true indeed. Awesome. All right, and we got Nick joining us. He joins us every now and then, so y'all have maybe seen him not only here but also in the chat. So awesome. Welcome, brother. How's your evening going? Your Shabbat?
Shabbat's great. Everything's going well. And yeah, this is a topic which I don't know as much about, so I'm actually eager to sit back and listen to what y'all guys have prepared on it tonight, learn some stuff and ask some questions.
Sweet. Well, welcome as always. Awesome. All right. Well, um, let's go ahead and get into like the main thing of it. Now we had like with all of our shows, we don't really like we kind of talk about it a little before, but we don't have like a full on system of like, oh, this is how we do stuff. So most of the time it's off our dome, off the straight. But of course we do research and all that. But anyways, um, so let's kind of get into it. So the episode is episode 12, Tammuz. So some people may already be familiar with this name, some may not. So yeah, let's kind of get into that. So now to kind of build it up from where we are to where we're going, we had talked previously about Nimrod and his different names and all the different variation that's out there. And so this is another one in my opinion, in my research. And we're also going to talk about some other interesting things in the Greek side of this. So anyway, so
Oh,
what were you going to say? Go ahead.
several Greek. I'm sorry. It's several more than just a Greek. I
Well,
just
no,
wanted to
totally.
alliterate.
I know, but I'm just specifically talking about one that has like an like near identical story. So we'll totally get into that as well. But so yeah. Anyway, so those that don't know, Tammuz, his birth date is December 25th. So today. So many people around the plane are celebrating a holiday called Christmas or Xmas. And this holiday that they're celebrating not only goes back to the book of Genesis, but has been the same type of behavior tied into for a long time. And I'm talking about the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Greeks, all around the world. This holiday has been celebrated. Now, you may be confused because when I say that, you're like, wait, so everyone has been celebrating Christmas even before Jesus was born, or even people who didn't believe that that didn't even believe that Jesus is the Messiah or had no reason to celebrate his birth. All these people around
And
the
that is
world, including atheists today, celebrate this holiday. And so, one of the first recollections of why it is the day that it is today is, again, because of Tammuz. You were going to add something there. Go ahead, Anthony.
Oh, I was just trying to get you back on track. As all, it's just that it's celebrated around the world, and it has so many different ways of viewing it.
Oh no,
Uh,
I was
I,
specifically just talking about the story of Tammuz and his that direct story. Um, but yeah. So anyway, so Tammuz in the mythology was a god that had had some interesting parts to them. So they had a intimate relationship with the Sumerian god. This would be in Sumerian, where known as Ishtar or Astartes or Inanan. So she has multiple different names. I'm actually gonna pull up some screen share so y'all can see this while we're looking at it. So this is just New World encyclopedia. We're gonna look at a few different places, but the basis story, without reading all the all the additions that the cultures added throughout the time about these stories and these people and their behavior and power, etc. Specifically talking about what his connection is to Christmas. So in the mythological account, he is fights a boar, and he is slain, gored, and killed. And he dies in the arms of Ishtar, and he descends down to the underworld. And as basically a deal or kind of some uh, story. I don't really know how to put it. He basically is resurrects every December 25th. So he dies and resurrects every year, and so we see that literally um, this 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 whole holiday is connected to Christmas because of this. So if you do just like a let me go pull back and you say Tammuz birthday. So let's just see this. So December 25th. So it says, and since Tammuz was born on December 5th, this day was highly honored and recognized by Nimrod's supporters. So, whoa, wait, Nimrod's supporter Tammuz? What's going on here? So, and you had done a little stuff that you kind of wanted to add in, Anthony, about Tammuz. Go ahead and share that with us real quick.
1 second, brother. 1 second, brother. I'll be right back. I'm very sorry. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay, no worries. So let me pull up what I was saying. So, okay, so that's the first connection is but we're talking about Samaria. Now, after Samaria, people also know of the Romans. Okay, so the Romans had a holiday during that same time period, and it was a week-long period of literal lawlessness happening between the 17th and 25th of December. Now, okay, I just went from Samaria and talking about Tammuz, but now I'm talking about Rome and Saturnalia. So what's very interesting is some of you may know is when these as societies from the Tower of Babel grew on and eventually started coming back into contact with each other, a lot of the times it was very easy for them to kind of understand each other because they already had very similar gods and pantheons and ways of working, of having societies. And so
Yes.
as they
Sorry.
came together, we also noticed another thing. So I'm going to bring up that encyclopedia again and show you from their own thing. This is on just main research off of Google. We see here that the Tammuz is incorporated in the Hellenic pantheon as Adonis. So let's go look at Adonis real quick. So Adonis, the same way, was mortally wounded by a boar, was killed in the arms of his lover. On this side, though, it's no longer it's no longer Ishtar. It is now the name's dropped. It's now Aphrodite. And the exact same thing. He goes into the underworld, and then his time gets split between all three of the people. And okay, well, how is this connected again to this? So I want to take a quick little break on this and kind of talk about something else. So when we're looking at these accounts of mythology and these quote unquote deities, I will say that I personally believe that not all of them were real beings. I believe that a lot of them do indeed represent real beings that existed, but I also see that looking at all the different cultures and all the different mystery religions, that they also have characters who will take the personification, or will take the powers, or the you could even say the authority of another god, and become its own god. An example
And
is, go ahead. I'm
and
sorry.
it's the idol. I wasn't meaning to interrupt, but it's also the idolization of it, of that particular god or so-called god. It's the idolization of it, and that's pretty much the topic that I was wanting to discuss after a while. And I'm not meaning to interrupt, brother. I thought you were through, but I wanted to bring that point up. Is about, it's not worshiping a god. It's idolizing that god, whether it's a real being or not. It's still a fictional character that is basically against Yeshua. Like, for example, Merlin or Hercules or Zeus. It's a fictional character that people worship. It's an idol.
Well, so I actually disagree. So what I mean by disagree, so I think that some of them are definitely fictional characters, and I think that the deeds or the powers, I think that there are things that can be attributed to them, whether it be stories or deeds or whatever it is, that are fabrication. But I do believe that, as I think we all do, that there are beings that if we saw, these angelic beings, we could or would describe them as God. And definitely if they were rebellious to the Father and presented themselves as gods, how easily mankind would be tricked by those lying signs and wonders, which is something that will happen again for sure, as I believe is described in most prophecies. So, but that being said, kind of back to what I was saying is, so we have these different gods, and so Adonis right here, his connection to Aphrodite, his connection to being the father of the son of Zeus. Well, let's look at Zeus real quick and see who all Zeus had as children. Now, here's another example. Now, I don't believe personally, and I know there's are people that are disagree, and I totally get that. But me personally, I don't think that the evil one has committed the same law or the same sin as the Watchers did when they came down in the year in the days of Jared. However, I also think that this, as I was saying before, and how they use stories to kind of write examples of their characters to show you deeds and how great they are, to also develop the type of character, the type of personality they have. Um, in the same way that they do here in the children, like Zeus having children. Now, I believe Zeus is definitely identifiable as the evil one. And I think that his connection to Nimrod, as we've said before, or Gilgamesh or Tammuz, I think that all of these connections directly show you um, directly show you what these type of characters are and what they represent. Okay, so I already went through a lot of this developing these characters, and I'm not gonna go through and this isn't a we're gonna tell you every single name of Nimrod. There's tons of research out to do there. It's very interesting. If you're into that type of thing, I suggest you do it. I just wanted to give you a brief story, a brief like kind of sum up of where we've got to. Okay, it's the same person. We have this holiday that is celebrating specifically this person, and we've seen that cultures all throughout the world have done that exact same thing. And I've shown you a couple of examples of that. But
Right,
let's.
right. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I was actually gonna throw it over to you.
Oh, I thought somebody else was trying to speak. Vader Bear, you and I had this bit of a discussion just a few minutes or so before the show started and all, and I think we're kind of leaning on each other's shoulders about a lot of these topics, and I think we can learn from each other because I learned a lot from what you had told me earlier, and I think that that it also ties into what you were teaching or studying, so to speak, as same as mine, and I think we should be able to put our heads together here. I think this puzzle piece fits. Um, One thing that I wanted to bring up is about um, Tammuz and Hercules and stuff like that. The gods that we've heard of in Egyptian and Greek and Indian history and even Native American history. It all is telling basically the same story. It's just different perspectives of it. And I think once we actually kind of get down into the nitty gritty of this particular subject, I think we'll see that Nimrod is basically all of these fictional characters as well. He is depicted as the anointed or the Christ to a lot of different religions. And also he actually invented a religion at the Tower of Babel and stuff like that. And honestly, I I'm not meaning to step on toes, but dude, man, I think we can really come together on how this is described. I think there's a lot to what you and I both see.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And and like getting more deeper into the actual celebration at hand. Um, I know you had some stuff that you specifically wanted to draw up. I have some like things about just the general consistence. So if you'd like to go. If not, I can kind of just give the information that I kind of pulled up to show.
Well, how about this? How about let's give the information that you've pulled up,
Okay,
and and let's go into afterwards the little bitty bit of a presentation that I have.
totally.
Um, even though I have to read like 2 hours of scripture, but I'm trying to break that down as best I can,
For
brothers and
sure.
sisters.
Well, you could just use the whole Bible if it was scriptures that we shouldn't practice idolatry. But
Oh,
okay, yeah. So a few things. There's a myth out there. I don't know where it came from, but that his birth date was put that Yeshua's birthday, Jesus' birthday was on the 25th of the year 1 CE. Now, that personally makes no sense to me because of the dates that it gives you. Now, there is obviously different conflicting information out there. So I'll just say that, but I'll add a caveat after. So you have some people arguing that he was born on September. Uh, they say it's the September 20. Sorry, the December 25th. You have those that place it on March 28th. You had another person, a bishop, say that it was on November 18th. And then I think the most recent one, a guy by the name of Joseph A. Fritzmeier, uh, although he studied at the Catholic University Church, he placed it on September 11th, which I think is really interesting.
Real
That
quick,
it would be that
Vader.
day. Go ahead.
My wife's birthday is November 18th. That would be so cool if that was true.
So
My, my little Yeshua.
absolutely. I've kind of like the September 11th thing kind of makes sense to me because if it was a birth date in the Gregorian calendar, which really doesn't make sense, right? Like so we're trying to translate it from one calendar over to another, which work differently. But anyways, um, I just think the September 11th thing is interesting because of what happened on that day. Because gravelers got to gravel. But so I said I was going to add a caveat. The caveat is I don't know if it actually matters because I feel like if it mattered the day and time and etc. that the Messiah was born, then it would have been why wouldn't the father had said, "Hey, make sure that you put this information down so everyone knows and they don't have to fight about it." Right? It could easily been on the first year of the blah blah blah, on the second blah blah blah, Jesus was born, but they didn't note that stuff. So I would say, to me, that personally indicates that the father didn't put it there because it didn't matter. Now, am I saying that it didn't matter that the Messiah came into the world? Absolutely not. Like absolutely. Um, but more than him coming into the world, like him leaving the world and defeating death is way cooler to me personally. So that being said, so that's the Jesus born. We know for 100% fact at least though that he wasn't born on September 25th. We already showed that Tammuz, Nimrod, etc. celebrate their birth date on the 25th. That's when it's recognized. Now, again, let's go back and say why in Christmas do we celebrate it on December 25th? And so we showed the kind of gods before, and I brought it to Romans in Saturnalia. Again, they did it between the 17th and the 25th. Now, during this time, it's very much like it is today. The courts were closed. No one was be able to like. It was literally everyone could do whatever they wanted, and it didn't start over. Like nothing started again until after the 25th. And excuse me, um, in this time of Saturnalia, they would literally choose random people. They would intoxicate them, let them have all like the desires and pleasures and whatever they wanted to do, and then they would literally kill that person. And they would also eat human-shaped people. That was a part of it. Is faking the cannibalism, and that's where we get gingerbreads. And so this main push for Saturnalia um, to onto the Christians was intrinsically tied to the fact that it went. So this push was intrinsically tied to the fact that the whole events itself went contrary to it. So so
I,
basically leading on to this kind of being observed here and there, but during 1466, it was the Pope Paul II who started introducing even more things into the society through the Roman Catholic Church, and that literally went on throughout the centuries until now we have kind of our modern day where we have a little bit of the pagan smorgasbord in the American home. We have a little bit of the Christmas tree, we have a little bit of the wreaths, we have a little bit of the of the Santa. We have a little bit of everything sprinkled on in the majority of homes in America, and also the majority, I feel like, of Christian homes in America. And so it's very interesting to me that we have all of these, clear cut, just Google this information and you can find it. Um, but no,
am
but people don't change their minds. So go ahead.
sorry. I wasn't meaning to interrupt, brother. I just wanted to kind of get into a little bit of a presentation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, I totally agree with what you're saying, man. And everybody in every household throughout the entire world is saying, "Hey, go to bed, little children, and Santa Claus is coming down the chimney in the morning." And then what do we do when we realize that we are literally lying to our children that some man dressed in a red coat that's pulled by 8 tiny little reindeer is coming down a chimney that nobody owns anymore? Are we lying to our children?
Yeah.
And
Can I just add on to that real quick? So,
absolutely,
so you specifically talked about Santa Claus. So Saint quote unquote Nicholas was from Turkey. He actually was a part of the uh, Council of Nicaea in 325 that created the New Testament. Okay, so this guy literally literally okay, he supplanted a female boon given deity called the grandmother. It's that big whatever boob thing. He who used to fill the children's stockings with her gifts. The grandma was ousted at the so he literally replaced the whole stockings of gifts. That whole part comes from a whole nother pagan ritual. The Nicholas cult literally spread it out through the German and the Celtic pagan groups. Their chief gods obviously Thor, Balder, etc. And and when Nicholas emerged, he literally was he had a beard, he had mounted a flying horse, and he would fly over with heavy clothes during the winter. This is in the pagan and the Celtic religions. For the Catholic Church, the new Northern European people, they adopted and taught that he distributed gifts on December 25th instead of the 6th, which the other ones had done. So it's like we literally see here over and over that these pagan, even in the Santa Claus thing, right? There's like it's not just one dude with one pagan. He has just the concept of Santa has all of these pagan ideas smashed up into one.
well, exactly, man. And I'm glad you clarified all that, because to be honest with you, man, I've got a lot to cover. And honestly, I'm really happy that you presented that way and or presented that fact in that way is what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Oh, no
Um,
worries. And just to kind of finish out there is, so we have this symbol, right? It's supposed to be Jesus's birthday, but then we have this character named Santa, right? And Santa can literally, he knows what you're doing. He knows if you're doing good or bad, if you're doing what you're supposed to. He knows if you're naughty or nice. He lives in a place that you can't get him. You never get to see him, but you have to believe he's there.
Same way with Yeshua and Yahuwah, right? Though
But it's the exact opposite, right?
I know,
Instead of
I
him bringing you spiritual love and feeding you that way, you have this other deity that's selling you into the world. Here, let's give gifts these days.
and that's exactly what I want to get into.
Yeah,
That's
let's hear it.
exactly right.
Yeah, it's an inversion. It's an inversion. Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly right. It's an inversion. Just like every Hollywood show that we see on television, just like everything that we hear on the news, it's all an inversion of scripture. It's to make us disbelieve
Yeah,
scripture.
it's to bring confusion and doubt.
Exactly.
It's like
Well, I would like
we
to
can
bring
all
up
see that in this, just real quick, it's kind of off topic, but we all see literally how they have the same playbook. They literally play the same plays over and over. They just change the names and the stage, and like the population believes it. Like they literally, the mass majority of Christians, obviously, for it to propagate, we're talking about like, stuff that was happening thousands and thousands of years ago, regardless of like time has been shortened or altered or whatever. Like if we go all the way back to the Tower of Nimrod, we're talking about thousands and thousands of years that this holiday has been celebrated. And then when you specifically talk about the adoption of the different peoples, and chiefly among the Roman Catholic Church, of these beliefs, then stemming down to the Christians, and then you eventually have the Protestant, separation. But then the Protestant people, they're doing almost all the same things that the Catholic Church is doing, as in behavior. They just take one or two scriptures differently. And so,
but I mean,
just to finish, to draw that all the way out to where we are now, again, thousands and thousands of years later, we're not like, we have the ability to search these out. 2,000 years ago, a Catholic living in, or not a Catholic, listen, yeah, 1,500 years ago, whatever it is, a Catholic living in Rome, right, would have no way of, just a regular person would have no way of knowing that their their beliefs were intrinsically tied to beliefs that go contrary to what they profess to believe. And so this is the thing, is I think, and I'll let you go on. I think like one of the main objectives with Easter, or with Christmas or Easter, etc., is to get the majority of people who claim to be believers to accept the behaviors and celebrations of the non-believers.
that is entirely the point that I'm trying to get at. 100% the point. But right quick, I want to welcome and say Shabbat Shalom to Daryl Lee. Much love to you,
Hey,
brother.
Shabbat Shalom, dearly. How you doing this evening, brother?
Um, right quick, I
Shalom, and thank you, Anthony, for that, and Vader. Um, yeah, I love y'all's topic and where you're going with that. And one thing is if you look at how many the papacy had to kill, like during the Inquisition, to hide the knowledge of the true dates and the true things that people were actually learned from Yeshua, and what they were keeping, the laws and all that they were changing. and they killed numerous people that wouldn't keep the Sabbath or do whatever the papacy said.
That's right. Tycho Brahe was burned at the stake for saying that Copernicus was wrong.
Exactly.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. This whole thing of deception does nothing but leave trauma in our children. Because, we tell them about Jesus, we tell them about Santa Claus, we tell them about the Easter Bunny. And then they find out these things are lies. And then Yeshua gets thrown in with that.
Yep.
And they don't trust the spirit because, their parents lied to them about Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and all these other pagan rituals that are tied into it. And it causes trauma in them. And then they don't trust anybody. They have no trust. They have no trust in Yah. They have no trust in Yeshua. And it causes separation in our children and in all their development years. And then they start to question everything. You know what I mean?
And that's definitely one level of it. I also say that I know Christians that still celebrate Christmas but don't ever talk to their children about Santa. I still think that that's an issue.
But wait a minute. Kind of building on what Frankie was saying is, I think he makes a very good point. We're lying to our children about Santa, but yet when it comes to reality, how are they gonna believe in Yeshua when they've already lied to? Why would they not think that they've been lied to about Yeshua too?
Well, and the thing also is they're looking for trust in someone, and if you've already lied to them, then who are they going to trust? The government? They're going to look somewhere.
Exactly. How can they trust anybody after if they've been lied to their whole life? And this is kind of the point that I was wanting to get at in just a minute. We shouldn't lie to our children because it is better to have a millstone tied around our neck and tossed into the sea than to lie to the children. Can't remember exactly where it says that, but I know it says that.
Yeah, than to offend one of these little ones. Yeah, it was with Yeshua when the children were gathering around him, and his disciples were like wanting to shoo the children away. He says, "No, let them be." That they had to become as one of these to enter into the kingdom. And he said that it'd be better for a millstone to be tied around your neck than to offend one of these little ones. I'm not
Exactly.
sure if those were exactly all in the same place, but
Yeah, well, he literally, and worse than just a millstone, he says a millstone tying around you and be thrown into the sea than to a feet. Like your punishment would be better if you just tied a millstone around your neck, threw yourself into the sea. That's going to be a better outcome than if you offend a little one.
That's right.
That's a pretty big warning, man.
Yeah, well, God hates a liar, and that's what our culture does, and we prime them up to that, and then they're gonna buckle under peer pressure. They're gonna buckle under whatever the teacher tells them. They're gonna buckle under the government, and they're gonna have doubt in anything we tell them after that. So they're constantly going to be going through life unbalanced and not have a stable foundation.
Totally. I was just gonna say my children, specifically my daughter, she literally goes around to her friends. She flat smacks, but she also Santa smacks. She's like, you know, Santa's not real, right? And like she like even at school, my son does it too, and we'll have to literally be like, okay, like we all believe different things. You can't just go around telling people that what they believe in isn't real. So it's like this balancing of act of like, like I guess I would be pretty mad if I was telling my children that Santa was real and some kid at school told my children that he was, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Well, we also have that battle going on with our flesh and our spirit. You know, the flesh has enmity from with Yah, and a lot of times, you know, when we want to tell people the truth, and they start to argue instead of our spirit trying to witness with them, then our flesh rises up, and we start trying to witness from our flesh, and then it gets heated, and there's no longer love. It turns into arguments and hatred, and
Yes,
that all stems
you,
from lying to each other.
you're exactly right, Daryl, and I couldn't agree with you more. And that's kind of like a segue into what I wanted to get into tonight. Um, and if it's cool with everybody,
yeah,
I'd
let's
like
hear
to
it.
get into information a little bit. But if there's any more questions or any more concerns about who Tammuz is and what this particular holiday represents, then by all means, I'm totally open to questions.
Well, I did want to like make a comment on something you said earlier about some of these um, so-called fictitious or non-fictitious um, deities that people worship. You know, and whether they're real or not, we're bringing them into a realism. You know, like through video games. You know, raising them up to a statute, you know, and like in video games like God of Wars and stuff like that.
I'm just saying, in God of War, man, I actually really liked that game because I got to go kill Zeus and kill Hades and kill like I'm not gonna lie, dude. It was pretty satisfying being able to kill those
Well,
gods.
what was your
Did you know
character in there?
God of War was actually a representation of God?
Really? Because he goes and destroys all the gods? I don't know Nimrod ever had those claims on him.
Kronos or whatever his name was, Kranos or whatever. He is an exact representation of Nimrod, except it's all twisted.
Well, of course, everything is inverted in this world, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't have a problem killing Zeus. Like, that was awesome. Yes, let's kill
Well,
Zeus.
I understand that, but what my point was I was trying to make was what Anthony was trying to make
No, I
earlier,
know.
that the worshiping of them, we're bringing them in, erecting them from the dead into our virtual reality, that we're creating this new um, understanding, you know, and we're kind of raising them in our own minds, in our own um, understandings, you know, and it's a form of worship, um, that we elevate these things to such a high standard, you know, and I mean millions of dollars and stuff go to these, probably billions of dollars go to these video games and virtual reality and this whole thing, but it's like a form of worship.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah, well, any type of idolatry is, um, is worship, and he gives us fine lines, right? Like it doesn't have to be, you sacrificing something to an altar for it to be a form of worship. It can literally be just putting it above the Father. So he doesn't want you to put anything above the Father, and you can definitely make anything, anything your God, a God that you want to. Um, so
Exactly.
yeah, and this is the thing with when it comes to just the world is like when it comes to video games. To me personally, I wouldn't have read the Book of Enoch if it wasn't for video games. Literally, it was Darksiders 2, which led me because I learned about this character named Uriel, which was an angel in the game. And I went and looked at it, and I was like, oh, it's a book in the Enoch. Okay, well, let me read this. And then it from there changed the way that I look at the place we lived, which led to the way that I looked at scriptures different. That changed that literally like changed me to want to be obedient to the Father. And so like to me, I don't ever like to attack one place or another, right? Because like I'll give you an example. Like a lot of propaganda has been put through books, right? Like ideas of our society
Oh,
come from things like, To the Moon and Back by Jules Verne, or uh, you know Star Trek, Star Wars, like even modern days things, but then even to George Orwell's 1980 84. So like, well, my point is if we talked about how they are able to change society through medium, well, books is definitely a probably the biggest, right? But I don't want to attack people who that read books, and say like, oh, this is a specific one where they have it. And so all I'm saying in general is I think we all have our issues with our own things, and we all know that, and I would hope that we would all, when we are um, convicted by the Father, to follow through, follow him and his instructions. And if he's putting something on your heart that you need to work on, and let's say that's video games or reading books or whatever it is, you definitely need to be able to give that time to the Father. That's what he wants. He wants you to go through him first. But anyways, we're totally getting off topic.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. I wasn't saying like video games are sin or nothing like that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying they can be,
Oh,
and through
totally.
that they are elevating and brainwashing, and that we need to be wise and careful about that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I almost want to. I know we're getting off topic. I almost want to say like that for the news too. It's like that quote. It's like those who read the news are misinformed. Those who read the news are misinformed, but those who don't are uninformed, or something like that. It's like I hate watching news, but it's like I also want to see what the heck the world is saying. Does that make sense?
There's some, yeah. Sometimes you can watch the news and just figure, okay, if they're saying that, it must be the opposite.
Yeah.
In some instances, it can give you clues where to look.
Yeah.
And
Anyways, I'm totally sorry. We're totally interrupting Anthony, and
oh,
we
okay,
shouldn't do
yeah,
that.
go
Let's go
ahead,
ahead, Anthony. Uh,
go ahead.
with what you were saying, brother.
all right. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I have a bit of a presentation, and I hope this doesn't take too long to read. But I think everybody here is pretty familiar with Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1 through 5. It says, "Hear the word which the Lord speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus says the Lord, do not learn the way of the Gentiles. Do not be dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the Gentiles are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are futile. For one cuts a tree from the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers, so that it will not topple. They are upright like a palm tree. They must be carried, because they cannot go by themselves. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, nor can they do good." Now I want to discuss that just a little bit. I've been watching a lot of shows and stuff like that about the Xmas, quote unquote, Christmas topic, and they all cover that particular verse. But I would like to dive into it a little bit. I want to know what it's actually saying. Is it talking about a Christmas tree? I can actually show, yes, it is.
I'd say yes, it is. Or it could be even a totem pole or an obelisk or anything erected for that matter.
Exactly,
But
for
I
that
think,
purpose.
yeah, but I think in this particular instance, it is probably talking about that.
Right. Now I'm actually flipping through the pages, so y'all got to give me just a second. I do appreciate y'all uh having uh uh discourse within the different scriptures. However, I totally agree with you. Now I'm looking up Leviticus 18, 1 through 5. Leviticus. I'm very sorry for having to look up the pages, but this is something I needed to read. It says, Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, I am the Lord your God. According to the doings of the land of Egypt, where you dwelt, you shall not do. And according to the doings of the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you, you shall not do, nor shall you walk in their ordinances. You shall observe my judgments and keep my ordinance to walk in them. I am the Lord your God. You shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man does, he shall live by them. I am the Lord. Now, I don't think that we are supposed to partake in quote unquote Christmas because we are not supposed to partake in pagan days, pagan holy days. And I think Leviticus 18, 1 through 5 says that clearly that we shall not do it. But instead, we're supposed to bring the blessings to these pagans that they don't have to worship their false gods because their false gods are nothing. They can't even carry themselves. They are a tree in the forest. They can't do anything. But the Lord our God, our Creator, He can do all things. And we should trust in Him and show our blessings to Him. Let's see. I want to go to Ezekiel 20, 18 through 20. Ezekiel, I'm very sorry that I'm having to scroll through the book itself, but I'm
what was it again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel 20. And it's going to be verses 18 through 20. And sorry, I'm still flipping. I'm very sorry this is taking a long time, y'all. But this is something I need to get across. It says, But I said to the children in their wilderness, do not walk in the statutes of your fathers, nor observe their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols. I am the Lord your God. Walk in my statutes, keep my judgments, and do them. Hallow my Sabbaths, and they will be a sign between me and you, that you may know that I am the Lord your God. Now, when it comes to Christmas and this Christmas tree that we talked about in Jeremiah 10, why is anybody putting some sort of an idol like that in their home? Why? Are they following after it? Are they bowing down to it to put their gifts in front of that Christmas tree and then bowing down to it to pick those gifts up? You're giving to a false god, an idol, and you're receiving from that same idol the exact same thing somebody else put there. Why not receive the true blessing? The true blessing of Yeshua is that he died on the cross for our sins. Don't put an idol there to worship him. What did Aaron do when he said, get all the earrings and the rings and stuff like that from everybody and melt it down to a golden calf? And this is what we will worship. What happened to those people? They were destroyed. What are we doing with the Christmas tree? We're worshiping an idol. And like Vader Bear was saying earlier, it goes back to Tammuz. We are worshiping the rebirth of the sun god on December 25th. It's not the birth of Yeshua. He was born in the Feast of Tabernacles, which is nowhere near December 25th, according to the Gregorian calendar. One other thing I want to look up is Isaiah 40.
Before you go any further, Anthony,
Sure.
just let everybody know, most people, if anyone hears this, they've been lied to, so they don't realize what they're doing. Your tone is kind of it's kind of harsh.
I think he's just
We're not trying to
passionate.
put condemnation on anyone. We're just trying to inform you of the lies that you've been told, and I just want people to know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
he's
saying
just.
anything bad against you.
Yeah, I think he's
I know
just
your
passionate.
conviction. Yeah, I know your conviction. I know your passion. But just anyone listen to this, we're just showing you the information so that you can make the decision to repent from your motives of it, have a change of mindset, to understand the information that we're giving you, and not to condemn you, but to just let you know that you've been lied to. This is a false idol that they're setting in front of you, and we're just telling you all this with peace and love. Go ahead, Anthony.
Absolutely. And I'm trying to come across in peace and love to everybody that's listening to this. I truly am. And I want to just elaborate on what this holiday is literally about, and that we should distance ourselves from it as believers in Yahushua HaMashiach, our Savior. We should distance ourselves from these pagan religions. It clearly tells us. It clearly tells us.
Yeah,
But
I would say, if you're not ready to repent, if you're not like, if you're still questioning, well, then research, and consider the fact that, well, it's been surrounded by lies, flying reindeers and Santa Claus and like Easter bunnies and all these different things that have been lies. Well, that kind of tells you should research and find the truth, and seek it with all
I
your heart.
mean, we all know that we were lied to about Santa Claus. We all grew up at the age of roughly 7, and our parents said, Santa Claus really isn't real. Well, the first thing I did when my parents told me that Santa Claus wasn't real, I got mad at my parents. Why did you lie to me? I
Yeah.
might expressed it to them, but that was my first reaction. That my parents lied to me. Oh my gosh, what is this world coming to? But I actually do have a few more scriptures to read on this, and I do appreciate the questions, but we're going to be a long time if we stall too much. But I wanted to go to Isaiah 40, verse 18 through 20. It says, to whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness will you compare to him? The workman molds a graven image. The goldsmith overspreads it with gold. And the silversmith casts silver chains. Whoever is too impoverished for such a contribution. Choose a tree that will not rot. He seeks for himself a skillful workman to prepare a carven image that will not totter. And of course, a lot of us already know what 21 and 22 says about the circle of the earth and everything, right? So, that was another thing I wanted to bring up is, the Christmas tree itself. It's basically an engraven image that people have put lights and decorations and stars and balls and all this stuff on. I don't know. I'm at a bit of a loss right now. I'm very sorry, but I'm trying to tie this all into Jeremiah 10:1-5. So if we look at Leviticus 18:1-5 and Ezekiel 20:18-20, it ties in with verse 2 of Jeremiah 10. Then if we look at verse 3 and 4, then Isaiah 40, 18-23, and Isaiah 46:18-21. They tie into verse 3 and 4. Hold on, let me flip over to chapter 46. It says, well, I'm not going to read 18 and 19. I'm going to start in 20. It says, assemble yourselves and come, draw near together, you who have escaped from the nations. They have no knowledge, who carry the wood of their carved image and pray to a God that cannot save. Tell and bring forth your case. Yes, let them take counsel together. Who has declared this from ancient time? Who has told it from that time? Have not I the Lord? And there is no other God beside me, and a just God and Savior. There is none besides me. Now, what I get from that, as far as this,
was that out of Isaiah 40?
no, it's Isaiah 46.
46. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
46 what?
Isaiah 46:20-21.
There is no 46. 46 goes 1-13. At least in what I have.
Oh, I'm sorry. 45, 20-21.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm completely wrong with the chapter.
Yeah, no worries.
Very sorry. Very sorry about that, y'all.
That's all right. Go ahead, Anthony. Keep going.
But anyway, when it comes back to Jeremiah 10, I want to cover verse 5, and I'm going to go to Psalms 115, 1-8. And please excuse me for having to flip through the book. Thank y'all for mentioning the chapter there. I'm very wrong.
But you're going to comment on that too? I didn't hear what you said about the verse.
What verse?
So the one out of Isaiah 45 you just read, and I thought you were about to talk about. Are you saying you're going to read these other ones next and then comment on all of them?
You wanted to know about it. What did you want to know about it? While I'm flipping this 115.
Yeah, just I wanted to understand the context of why you're reading it, like what, or unless you're wanting to read all of those.
Because we are not supposed to partake in pagan days. We're not supposed to partake in it, and we're supposed to teach the lands that we go into the real feast days. Not.
Got you.
I'm sorry. I got a little mixed up and kind of off track whenever I realized I stated the wrong chapter. I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, it was Isaiah 45, 18-21.
Gotcha. And where are we going next? You said it was
Psalms 115, 1-8. And this is referring to Jeremiah 10 verse 5. So Psalms 115, 1 through 5 says, 1 through 8 says, not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but to your name give glory, because of your mercy and because of your truth. Why should the Gentiles say, where now is their God? But our God is in heaven. He does whatever he pleases. Their idols are silver and gold, the works of men's hands. They shall have mouths, but they do not speak. Eyes they have, but they do not see. They have ears, but they do not hear. Noses they have, but they do not smell. They have hands, but they do not handle. Feet they have, but they do not walk. Nor do they mutter through their throat. Those who make them are like them. So is everyone who trusts in them. So is everyone who trusts in them. That verse 8. Did I just lose connection or something?
No, we got you. Or I do.
That verse 8 should wake people up. Those who make them are like them. So is everyone who trusts them. I'm going to try to end up my presentation just as quickly as possible, but I'm not going to read all these verses, but I want to point out a few more verses. If you got a pen and paper, just write it down and read them at your leisure. It's Deuteronomy chapter 12, 29 through 32, Colossians 2, 8, Matthew 15, 3, Hebrews 10, 25 through 27, Colossians 2, 16, Galatians 4, 8 through 11, Isaiah 66, 1 through 24, which I think we read, Mark 7, 5 through 13, Ephesians 5, 1 through 12, 2 Timothy 3, 1 through 5, 1 Corinthians 5, 6 through 8, 2 Corinthians 6, 17, Proverbs 4, 14 through 17, 1 Thessalonians 5, 22, and Exodus 31, 1 through 5, and continue. Abstain from every form of evil is what 1 Thessalonians 5:22 says. Abstain from it. And that is kind of my conclusion to my presentation, which I feel like I kind of had to rush it since I know there's possibly questions and we've only got a few minutes left. But before we end, I have a couple of quotes that I would like to read.
We're good on time, brother. We still have like another 45 minutes, so.
Oh,
So don't be stressed out.
Brother, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking at that the wrong number. I thought it said 9:41. It said 9:14. I'm sorry. But anyway, okay. I'll go over the quotes that I want to give my brother Ian Fiducia shout out tonight for giving me tagging me in with these quotes here. I picked out a few of them that I thought were pretty cool. I didn't write them all down, but I want to give a big, large shout out to Ian Fiducia for tagging me in this. And I'm just going to read it. It says, Christmas as a pagan holiday traces back thousands of years before to a man named Nimrod, founder of ancient pagan Babylon. And this comes from Christmas Unwrapped on the History Channel by Alan Mosanger. Now, of all places, the History Channel, for crying out loud. But anyway, here's another quote. It says, Jesus Christ was not born on December 25th, but December 25th can be traced back to Genesis and a man named Nimrod. Nimrod was a founder of a great false religion system that began in ancient Babylon that has always opposed the truths of God. It's time we face facts. This world is deceived, just as God prophesied it would be in Revelation 12:9. Satan is the power behind this deception. Satan is successfully pawned off the old customs of Babylonian mystery religion as being pleasing to Jesus Christ. Now, that's a quote from Why Christmas is Not So Important to God by Carl Hickler and Mark Jenkins. Another quote says, December 25th, not only was Mithra, the sun god of Mithraism, said to be born at this time of year, but Osiris, Horus, Hercules, Bacchus, Adonis, Jupiter, Tammuz, and other sun gods were also supposedly born at what is today called Christmas season, the winter solstice. And this is from The Two Babylons by Alexander Hislop. And
Yeah.
the last final quote that I'd like to read is, the winter solstice was a time at which all the sun gods from Osiris to Jupiter to Mithra had celebrated their birthdays. The celebration began adorned with the pine tree of Adonis, the holly of Saturn, and the mistletoe of the pagan druids. Tapers, which are also known as candles, represented the kindling of the newborn sun god's fire. And this is by Man and His Gods, page 201. And that concludes my presentation. I
Nice.
hope I bore y'all too much.
No,
Thank
not
y'all
at
very
all. That was awesome. And I wanna real quick before I forget with the kind of the last couple things you said there is that's what I was kind of saying earlier, how like you have all of these gods from all of these religions that all share this same date of birth. Now, their stories aren't all the same. Their names definitely aren't all the same. And even like their birthing stories and stuff like that. All of those things are different, but the main kind of representation of celebrating their date, their birth on that date has been around for a super long time. So, um, to those that see this video earlier, I hope that you're not offended by this. We're not trying to offend anyone. What we're trying to do is say, hey, we all celebrated Christmas. We all celebrated Easter. We're all a part of that train. We're all part of that line of thinking at one point in our lives. So we don't, again, as Frankie iterated, we're not given this information as we're better than you or anything like that. It's we've gone through that same thing, and kind of wrapping it to what this group is, like eh, mainly about, if that makes sense, is where we live, right? This created enclosed place that the Father created us. And just a couple things. One is, don't you think it's really interesting how Santa also is intrinsically tied to the globe? Because we've always seen, how does he get around the globe? How does he get around the planet so fast? Right?
Exactly.
So that was one thing I wanted to bring up. And then another thing I wanted to share real quick about kind of with what you were saying when you're bringing up the Christmas tree in Jeremiah 10 is this was from a book called Christmas Customs and Traditions: Their History and Significance. And this is just a little excerpt. It says, just as early Christians recruited Roman pagans by associating Christmas with Saturnalia, so too worshippers of the Asheria cult and its offshoots were recorded by the church sanctioning Christmas trees. Pagans had long worshipped trees in the forest or brought them into their homes and decorated them, and this observance was adopted and painted with a Christian veneer by the Roman Catholic Church. So, to what you're saying, right? This is back in Jeremiah 10, and through his like the direct connection was specifically the Catholic Church trying to get the Assyria cult to be a part of them, so they sanctioned the use of Christmas trees so that they would join the church. And
Yep. I,
so boom,
looking up.
straight connection from, history to what we're seeing in Jeremiah 10.
Yep. Yeah, I'm actually looking up something, but I got something I want to share with everybody that goes right along with what you're saying. And as soon as I can flip to it, man, I'm trying, brother.
Oh, you're good.
It's in
Well, and
Isaiah 66, though. Isaiah 66.
what does it say
And
there?
I'm very sorry it's taken me a minute to get to it. Isaiah 66. It's actually verse 1 through 24, actually. The whole chapter. Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you will build me? And where is the place of my rest? Brothers and sisters, all I can say is please read the entire chapter of Isaiah 66 for what is it actually saying, because I'm telling you, you will definitely throw this stuff away and start trying to pull people away from this paganism after understanding this stuff. I'm very sorry to interrupt you, Vader Bear. That's just too much to read right now.
Yeah, no, I feel you. No, it's good. Yeah, no, and you didn't really interrupt me. I was just kind of adding on to what you were saying. Um, yeah, there's so much connections out there, people, and no one's throwing stones, no one's casting, because we've all been there. There's very few out there, and even in the truther community, that do this. There's a lot of good, well-meaning people that will still do it. And I still love them all as brothers and sisters, but I think that we should all be willing to challenge our beliefs, to look at the things that we grew up in and say, well, why do I do those things? And if you're spiritually and intellectually honest, then when you come and you learn about these things and how it has nothing to connection in any way to scripture, only in the fact that it is of pagan origins, then I hope that you would again be honest intellectually and spiritually, and go to the Father about it. Ask Him to reveal it to you, to show you, to strengthen you. Because, to be honest, when I transitioned from not Christmas to, or from Christmas to not Christmas, it was hard. It was definitely a awesome time of year, for all the different reasons, quote unquote awesome. And with my wife, for her it was really hard. She was really attached to it just the same. And for me, like for her, it was a little bit harder, logical versus emotional. And but then she went to scripture, and when she read scripture, she couldn't deny it because she was intellectually and spiritually honest, and she read those words and said, "Hey, this is exactly the things I've been doing. I don't need to be doing those things." And that's all that we're after here, is just we gave you the very top of the pile of this huge amount of information out there to go learn from, and we skimmed over even in all of our streams. We're skimming over these topics. We're going a little in depth here and there, but we're trying to paint this overall picture, and we'd love to go back and kind of dive deep into the missing slots that we're kind of skipping over. But as of
Well,
right
Vader,
now, just to finish off, so right now, this is like for now we're done with Nimrod. We have seen all of this information about this guy. I hope you looked up into him yourself, and we've seen how it accumulates into this day of worship, and we showed you what this day of worship is actually about, and again how that connects all back to this same man. And we're saying this man is not someone you want to be a part of. My belief is that this is the son of perdition. This is the man in Revelation 9 that we're going to be seeing this person again. And I know there's people that disagree with that. That's totally okay. But to me, this is the guy that is an important part of this story. And we all know he's going to be destroyed at the splendor of our Messiah's coming. So hallelujah for that. For anyways, I'll go ahead and say sorry. That's all I wanted to say. What's up, Anthony?
well, I just kind of wanted to end. I think what you said was very elaborate and very wonderful, Vader Bear. I think you put it into terms very well. And also, like you said, this goes a lot more in depth than what we've covered thus far. Um, it's it's pretty much the whole Bible, and we're going to be getting into a little bit of that in our upcoming sort of series, sort of thing. We're fixing to get into Abraham. We're fixing to get into the war between
Woo!
uh and Abraham.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited because now we've shown, and it's kind of interesting. We actually were showing. I think that last scripture you showed, Psalms 115, where there's all this warning, and then right after that, it starts to talk about like all the blessing, all like the good stuff. And so, like, okay, we've gone over kind of like the dark stuff and knowing what this guy was about and how he's attached to pretty much all the dark occultic things around the world. Now, let's talk about the other story, right? Let's talk
Yeah,
about
a righteous.
Abraham. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to end off on this particular verse tonight.
We're
And
we still got 30 minutes, brother. 34
no,
minutes.
no, I just wanted to end my whole
Oh,
presentation.
gotcha. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's just one more verse I wanted to read. It's two verses in Romans chapter 12, and it's verse 1 and 2. It says, "I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable to God, which is your reasonable, service. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." I just wanted to end off my whole
Absolutely.
presentation on that particular verse. And in my opinion, I really do think we should all transform our mind to reality, to the truth, and put away our pagan ways, put away our pagan doctrines. Like when we go to school, we learn about a globe. Put away that. Learn about what's real and true and holy of Yahuwah, the thing that He created, not the thing we want to create in our mind. I
Absolutely,
just
man.
many blessings and much love to everybody. And thank you very much for allowing me to present that tonight. And I have so much more I'd like to talk about it, but maybe next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was kind of cool how it worked out really in the timing. Like I know you wanted to do it last week, like in the presentation before, and it got messed up, but I think it's kind of cool how it ended up getting to be this day. And so maybe we didn't stop people this year from celebrating it, but maybe we gave people a year to dwell on these things and go to the word to him, like we're all liars. Go search the word and see what the word says. And um now
And to be and honestly, 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago or something like that, that wasn't enough time for people to repent.
yeah.
We've actually given them an entire year to repent. And my honest opinion on it, I think it worked out perfectly, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's we got like 30 minutes or so. So like I kind of want to just have some general conversation um that anyone had like other ideas or thoughts that they thought about or question whatever, like anyone else, Daryl, Frankie, Nick, about anything that Anthony talked about or that I talked about.
Yeah, I'd like to go back over that Psalms 115 because that was pretty powerful. Talking about the idols of silver and gold, and that they have mouths but they can't speak, and ears and noses but they can't smell or hear, and hands but they can't handle, and feet and they can't walk and stuff. But that when you point out that verse 8, you're right, man. That jumped out at me, and it says that they that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusteth in them. And that's just like, wow. Are we blocking our prayers? Because I don't know the exact verse, but in the New Testament somewhere it says, you have not because you haven't prayed, and but then when you do pray, you pray to heap it upon your own lusts, and this Christmas thing, that could be like a lust of our own understandings. We look at the Christmas tree, we make songs about it, we decorate it, and we go, wow, how pretty it is, and beautiful, and all this. And are we blocking our own prayers because we're trying to, put all these things in the way, Um,
Yeah.
when you read that, it reminded me in Amos, um, chapter 5 and verse 21, where it says, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though you offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beast. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will
Oh,
not hear the melody of thy vows.
dude,
So
powerful, man.
What verse was
not
that
not
again? I'm
only
sorry.
that's in Amos chapter 5. It's talking about the first woe of judgment. Um, I think it's talking about something that happened in the past, but it's also a double thing where this is something that's going to happen in the future too, and is happening now in some aspects. Um, but it's like we're 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 like blocking, ourselves by putting these things in way. We're erecting idols between us and the Father. We're building like walls up, between us. And we're like, well, why can't we hear him? Why isn't he answering my prayers? Why is all this bad stuff happening? Well, we're blocking it, by doing these things that he hates.
Well,
Absolutely.
well, first off, if you do it unknowingly, I think the Father will give you grace, but once you have the
Oh,
knowledge of it, you continue to do it.
I
But
totally agree. I totally
yeah,
agree with that. Yeah, he definitely gives us a lot of slack, and from our ignorances and stuff like that.
a lot of people are doing it out of love. They're doing it out of celebration. They don't realize that they're breaking a commandment of Yah, and we all break the commandments. We all fall short. So it's the intent of the heart. Even the Torah is the intent of the heart. You know what I mean? So
Wait,
we got to understand that too.
I disagree with you a little bit because the Torah is not the intent of the heart. The Torah is our instructions to live life.
Yeah,
Well,
but I think what he's also saying is like, and we would agree that like there could be something that's the letter of the law or the spirit of the law, right? So we're not
right.
saying live by the letter of the law, live by the spirit of the law, and but that being said, in the things like the Torah, right, and the instructions, when he's telling you to not make these graven images and not do these things, that is Torah, that is instruction. And and
Exactly.
and furthermore, specifically with this topic, you can see how quote unquote innocent behavior, even though you're doing it innocently, how it can lead to adverse effects spiritually. So I agree with Daryl Lee there that yes, your intent on doing things does matter, but there are physical things that you do that have spiritual ramifications. So if you're like a Christian, but you're bringing Buddhas into your house, even though you're not necessarily praying to those Buddhas, you're still kind of walking on some eggshells, I would say, because why
Well,
why would you even want that in your house?
I wouldn't necessarily say walking on eggshells, but yes, bring the Buddhists into your home,
Oh
but
no,
don't.
no. I didn't say Buddhist. I said Buddha, like a little statue of Buddha. I'm saying like
Okay,
you're kind of like, even though you're not praying to it and your intent isn't to say that Buddha is the deity or whatever, however you want to view him, you're still kind of not doing the right thing. So in the same way, with Christmas and the instructions, he's giving us clear instructions to don't do these things. He gives the instructions to the Israelites, hey, when you go into their land, don't start doing the things that they're doing. He showed in Romans, do not be conformed to this world, to test all things. Well, we just tested Christmas on the bare minimal. And if anyone literally does any type of research to this, if they're on the edge or like I don't know, or I think it's totally fine, well then go look at it. Go literally research where Christmas comes from, and then if you can still do it with love in your heart, then that's between you and the Father. But
I think that is the most lovingest way I've ever heard that said, Vader Bear. Thank you very much for saying it that way, brother. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. Because if you seek the Father with your heart, and your heart's right, He's going to correct you eventually. He's going to steer you in the right directions as long as you're willing and keep seeking. That He will present the truth to you.
absolutely, he's definitely done it in my life many times. But like even this, like the behavior of like getting gifts and wanting this materialistic thing, right? And think about it, like as a parent, you almost have to keep outdoing yourself, right? Like excuse me, you have to keep like upping the ante. So like that when they're teenagers, you're buying them, instead of a couple $100 worth of toys and clothes, you're buying cars and you know what I mean? So it literally becomes like for me, I know my thing for Christmas is like, dude, I'm gonna get all this new stuff That's what I cared about. I didn't care about any like all the Christmas stuff. Like, yeah, they talked about it. They sang Christmas carols or hymns, but I didn't care about it. I just wanted the stuff. When are we gonna open gifts?
There's a lot of peer pressure in it too. The whole world's doing it. You got to take that into consideration too.
I I actually do for my because of my family and my daughter. Like my
Yeah.
daughter sees it and sees it so pretty and like like why don't we do Christmas lights? Why don't we do a pretty Christmas tree? You know what I
I mean,
mean?
it's a
And
strong stand to
no,
stand
for
against
sure.
it.
And then we have like all our family members that here, except like kinda my brother, all celebrate Christmas. So it's kind of hard to say like, well, no, they're like to for her to see that contrast and
Well, and you don't want to start arguments at your family get-togethers either over
No,
celebrating
I,
Christmas. You know
I
what I
agree
mean?
with that, Frank. I agree with that. Don't start arguments at the family gathering and stuff like that. I agree. That's not
I
what.
mean, God gives us grace, so we
Well,
got to give grace too, also.
I'm still in the middle of a sentence,
So,
brother.
all right,
Uh,
go ahead.
I don't think that we should bring up this topic at family gatherings and stuff like that. However, I do think that we should look into this situation, check it out, and at least share it with our brothers and sisters and see what kind of puzzle pieces everybody has about the subject. Now, I'm not saying to everybody to go out there and just say, "Hey, I'm not doing Christmas anymore." Boom, bang. I'm not saying that. I'm saying talk to your family, socialize with your family, and talk about it and see how it could come about where everybody can get together during the quote unquote holiday season. I'm not saying to just throw it all away and just do away with it altogether.
so we
Okay.
personally had to do that because
Well,
of our children. Because it's
well,
already confusing as it is, them walking and seeing all the things, driving in a car and seeing all the things, and us having, oh, they celebrate Christmas. So,
well,
um,
some families only get together on the holidays.
Well, exactly, and that's what I was
You know what I
saying.
mean?
Getting at.
And you don't
totally,
want to be the one that starts an argument with the whole family. That's all I'm saying.
totally.
Yeah,
If it's something you
I
have to do,
totally get that.
yeah, if it's something you have
I
to
mean,
do, that's the
but
only time you're gonna get to see your family, then I understand.
right.
But if you
Yeah, I
can
get.
choose not to, or like now after Christmas
Well,
is over, is the best time to start informing. Like, hey, did y'all know this? You know, did you
well,
know
to
that?
Vader.
Go ahead.
Also, your family doesn't have to participate. If your brother or your sister or your uncle or your aunt, they still want to participate, or you can let you know, your beliefs be known, and you're still going to fellowship with them because out of love and being in the family. But your household, you don't have to decorate. You don't have to do the whole thing. You know what I mean?
But Frank, it's about a belief altogether.
Yeah, I
And
know,
you
but everybody doesn't have our beliefs. You know what I
no,
mean? And
no,
you can't force your belief on someone. You can give them information
Frank,
and let them
I don't think he's
and
trying to be
pray for
honest.
them.
That's
Frank,
Huh?
Well,
a
that's not
I
really
like
fair.
I
Frank,
like
Hold
what
on.
Frankie said earlier about that we we need grace and we got to be graceful too. It's written that mercy is for the merciful, and in these kind of things we got to be careful that we're operating in the fruits of the spirit out of love and stuff, because it's so easy for us to get prideful and our flesh
Sure.
rise up and say, I'm trying to make a point here, it's
Well,
by
yeah,
our
you
flesh
understand.
instead of.
So all my aunts are Catholic, and they're not going to give up Christmas. I mean, I can share, what the symbolism is behind it, but they're all Catholic,
Right,
and they
right,
follow their
and
Catholic
that's what I'm
deities. And they
saying is,
follow.
It's
They're
by the
a
way we
religious
make our
group.
point.
You know what I mean?
If we make our point
But as for me in
with
my
the through
house,
the
though, but as for me in my house, I can make a decision not to.
All right. We stepping on
You
each
know what
other's.
I mean?
Calm down a
yeah,
little bit.
what I was trying to reiterate is that the point, if we're trying to make a point, then we need to do it through the spirit
Yeah,
and the
through love.
fruits of the spirit, through love and stuff like that, and be
Yeah,
real careful that we don't let our flesh get in the way, because they're not, that's just going to put a wall right up there, that's going to offend them and stuff like that. But if they see the love then that we're blessed with, that's what provokes them to jealousy, because they see how much love and blessings in our life when we're walking in the fruits of the spirit. And
exactly.
that gives more power to our words when we tell them about the truth.
That's the best example, is to walk in love.
Exactly.
What were you going to say, Anthony?
Oh, I was just wanted to say, hey, let's get back to basics because we're actually still live and everything, and this should be for the after show stuff.
Yeah, we're acting like the after hours, ain't we?
Oh no, he said it was an open discussion. So we're having an
Oh
open
yeah, we were
discussion.
just random discussion about it, about
Yeah,
Christmas.
we just don't. We're just putting information out there. We don't want people to go starting arguments with their family either because of their conviction. I mean, and then we're going to be held accountable for that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Right.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
I don't want to sow discord.
In depth. I know we just skimmed the icing off the top of the cake tonight. To be honest, I mean, really, I named off what 15 different verses, book, chapter, and verse a while ago that I didn't read. I mean, I could still be reading verses that talks about this particular holiday, and the Israelites, who is us, the followers of Yeshua, or Yehoshua HaMashiach. I could still be reading verses on it. We could read the whole Bible and never find anything that is like for the Christmas holiday kind of thing.
Speaking of Christmas, I'm very angry because I wanted to get some pizza today and I can't
Well,
because it's Nimrod's birthday and that makes me angry.
Yeah.
my dear brother Kevin J. Stowe was supposed to have brought pizza when he joined the Discord with us, but apparently
Nimrod ruined your pizza party. Damn it.
Dude, it really was. I like was literally gonna eat pizza with my sons and she's like they're all saying and we're like oh, me and my wife are like she's like saying they're all not delivering and we're like oh my gosh it's Christmas that's why like we literally like we're so out of it now that we literally forgot multiple times that we it was Christmas so it's pretty funny.
That is. Nimrod ruined your Christmas. You ruined your pizza party. That sucks.
Yeah.
I want to decorate a pizza like the earth, nice and
Nice.
flat, and pile up some stuff for the land, real
Dude, wouldn't
good.
it be cool?
Sausage.
Like, what if
hey,
we made a flat Earth, like pizza joint where like when the pizza like we only made one type of pizza and it was just like the Gleason's map and we just like every pizza was a Gleason's map.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool.
uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and call it the Red Sea Pizza.
well, I just want to say one thing, and I know I'm gonna have to say it again, but I just love y'all. I love you all. Y'all are such a blessing to me. And I hope that one day that something that I do or say or transpire or even hint at can be a blessing to y'all. I love y'all.
I love y'all too.
love you
I
too.
love you much, Anthony. Absolutely.
Sweet. So, all right. Well, we kind of had some general discussion. Got about 10 minutes left. So we're gonna do our normal kind of things that are out, but um, kind of want to work on what we're coming up next. We're obviously always working on getting new people to join the table. So always join us in Discord. The link's in description. But that being said, we're working on some other special guests. Again, we're going to be getting into Abraham, and we're really excited about that because we kind of went over the bad side, and now we're going to get into the real good side. So, yeah, we're pumped for that. And then, yeah, so as far as the stream, I want to go ahead and show a couple comments real quick from the last stream. That was we had Randy L. Smith come on. He talked about both his books, his first book, Lifting the Veil, and then his subsequent book, Constellations. Check those out. There's links in that for more information on him in the description of that video. So go check that out. But I'm going to read a couple comments from that. Give you all a quick peek. So let me pull that up. Bear with me just a moment. Alrighty. Do a little share screen. Okay, so we got a couple here. So great show, guys. I look forward to the next one. All right, appreciate that, man. We definitely appreciate you leaving us a comment. It really does help. I'm glad that you enjoy the content. And then Diana M says, I've
Wait,
been. Oh,
what's that again? It's the name, brother.
Polyfermentalist.
Awesome. Shabbat shalom. Yeah.
Diana M said, I have been watching the show a while now. I have to ask what is going on the globe picture. It looks like a farting Earth. Yeah, please clear up what I'm saying. So, I'll pull it up on screen real quick. So that's actually, it's the Tower of Babel, and it's being built. And then a gust of wind comes and pushes a third of the tower over. A third of the tower sinks into the ground, and then the other third of the tower is burnt by fire from the sky. So that's what's going on.
So to be
It
honest,
does look like it's taking a giant dump and then the fart comes out. I gotta be honest with you.
dude,
It does look like that.
Oh, I can kind of see that.
um,
I guess I'm looking at a big screen and people are looking at a small screen. But if you look at it
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
big
that's
screen,
how
it
it
looks
looks
pretty
from
better.
YouTube. That's funny.
yeah, I love it though, man. I love the fact that it looks like the globe Earth farting.
I'd
That's
like
pretty
to
funny.
address, I'd like to address a question that Andrea had mentioned that like having the gathering with your family, that they're celebrating that. Isn't that like participating? Is what Andrea is asking.
I
Um,
would say yeah, personally. It's hard
oh,
to
I would say
go ahead.
I would say that we're in this world, but we're not of this world. You know, we still got to walk down and around people and socialize and all this stuff. You know, it's like if you're sitting down at dinner with and one of the servings is pork and you don't eat pork, well, you're just going to pass that by. You're not going to make a bunch of rude comments out of love. You're not going to sit there and try and diss what people are eating while they're eating it, and make an argument. That's going to ruin the whole understanding of family get together out of love. So you would pass things that you wouldn't eat, whether if you're allergic to them or whether you're something that you don't believe that you would eat, you would pass it by and not make a big deal. And so you wouldn't be participating in that one particular dish, but you're still participating in the family gathering and the love. Some of them might think that it's about gathering because of Christmas. Well, that doesn't have to be your understanding.
Well,
Yeah,
can I?
Vader's
Can,
wife dealt with that. She answered it really good. Your wife answered that really good about not taking the children to the Christmas gathering because it would be lame for them to sit there and watch other children open up gifts. So,
well,
yeah,
can
she
I?
dealt with that tactfully and really good.
Yeah,
Go
that's a
ahead,
good
Anthony.
point too there. Thank you.
Very sorry, Frank. I thought you was done a couple times, and
Well, I'm just trying to get a word in edgewise, buddy.
yeah, me too, man. And I'm very sorry for interrupting, brother.
All
I'm
right,
very.
thanks.
But can I share with y'all a particular uh something that happened in my life
Yeah,
when it comes.
can I just get through this real quick? I just want to finish the comments. So on the other one on our video, we had my lovely wife said, "Great show, adding those books to my wish list. I'm excited to read them too." And then I want to say this one, Andrew Matthew 2.0, he said, "Unsubbing, this is mind control. I don't have time for this. 6 minutes of MK Ultra music." Okay, I don't know why you're calling it MK Ultra music. I literally picked a free song that I thought sounded good. I'm sorry that you don't appreciate that song. Unfortunately, like I can't, like
I don't know what MK Ultra even
I don't know.
means.
I think he's just saying electronic music. But regardless of that, I understand, brother. If you feel like that is the deal killer, I'm not gonna try to change your mind, but I would just say that there's no mind control or MK Ultra trying to go on. So sorry that you feel that way. But anyways, yeah, that was the comments that I wanted to share. And then we can kind of start wrapping it up. So if you'd like to share what you'd like, and then we'll go ahead and say our goodbyes. Anthony?
Hang on, brother.
Oh,
Yeah, I'd like to say a little more. Yeah, I know how it can be difficult because sometimes this is the only time of year families get off work and have a chance to all get together and stuff like that. And it's terrible to miss that opportunity to love on your family because it's around a certain traditions and stuff. Maybe you could work it out a way like say, well,
It's a
if your
hard thing.
kids are gonna open up the presents at this time and y'all are gonna do the whatever traditional stuff around the tree and all that kind of stuff, then if y'all do that at this time, we'll come a little bit later and just for dinner, and we'll all sit down and gather for dinner. You know, um, there could be ways of still working it out.
well,
Yeah, it's a hard thing.
the good thing about at least with our family and our situation is we see them quite often, like for other events. So it's not like that's our one and only time that we get to see them. They literally live less than an hour away. So, and
Okay.
then most of my other family lives right here. Like I see my brother every day, of not every other day, and my mom every day. Like when school is doing, because she helps with this my daughter's homeschooling. But anyways, so yeah, I definitely think like, and I'll say this, like no one is telling you how to repent. What I mean by that is no one's telling you how to walk out your salvation. So if for you it's just a matter of saying, okay, I'm gonna go, but I'm not gonna participate in this stuff. If that's, like whatever the Father leads you to do, that's what you should do. Go to the Father for it. No one can tell you stop instantly, cold turkey, start preaching against it. No one's telling you what to do. Again, go to the Father for it. But um, definitely appreciate that. But we're pretty much almost out of time. Are you back, Anthony? Did you want to tell your story here quickly?
Yes, I'm back, and I'm very sorry for that. I don't know if I've got some sort of a bladder infection or something like that, but when I got to go pee, I got to go right then. But I'm very sorry for stepping away. But I did want to kind of bring up a couple things, a couple of shout outs. I want to tell you all that I appreciate you all for checking us out and sharing us and hitting that like button and then your comments and stuff like that. And look, if you have a disagreement with us, that's what we're here for. we want to hear your disagreement and we want to discuss it. We want to hear your puzzle piece, because your puzzle piece might not fit one way and our puzzle piece might not fit one way. But if we bring it together, then our puzzle pieces may happen to fit one way or another. But I just wanted to let everybody know that everything that I said tonight, I want to say that I said it with in pure love, and I just hope everybody listens and understands. We have a little time. We have a little time to get right. Just repent from our wicked ways. We should never ever take up the doctrines of false gods. We should preach our one true God to the doctrines of men. And with that, I conclude. And I just want to say much love, many blessings to everybody, and Shabbat Shalom.
Awesome. Thank you for that, brother. Shabbat Shalom indeed. All right, Daryl, you want to say your goodbyes to everyone?
Yeah. Y'all, thanks for coming, and it's just wonderful that we can come together and discuss these things, because I'm sure that y'all are going to have a puzzle piece that I need to help me fit right, and I appreciate that. And I just want to tell y'all I love you and thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Shabbat Shalom indeed. Alrighty. So I'll go ahead and go and then throw it to Frankie as usual. So yeah, thank you all for being here. Those that are with us live chat all the time, we see you, we love you, we appreciate you. Thank you to all those that watch it later, whether on Take on the World or on our Enclosed Cosmology Fellowship YouTube channel. Speaking of Take on the World, thanks, Chris. Shout out to you, Chris and Liz, for letting us use your platform. We always like to say thank you because it's such a awesome thing that you allow us to do, and we have much gratitude for it. And to the panel guys, I love you so much. Thank you for showing here and talking to us and having this conversation. And I know there's always points of contention or disagreement, but I love that we're all brothers and we love each other. And above else, that's so important. So other than that, I love you guys. Thank you for being here again. And Shabbat Shalom. I'll throw it over to you, Frankie.
Yeah, I just want to let everyone know we're all bound together in love and unity of love. It was the main thing that Yeshua came to teach. And this is a difficult time for making stands and dealing with your own salvation. So, but just remember that your love is your witness, and the love is the only thing that is going to really lead people to Yah and the Father. So just continue to walk in love and be filled with the grace and the love of Yeshua. And this is our song, Love is Your Witness. I hope it blesses you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a great Sunday, and just enjoy your week.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. All right, guys, y'all leave. Go to the other channel.
Love is your witness. Love is your witness. Love is your witness.